Thank you very much. I'm thrilled to be back with the hardworking patriots of the great state of Michigan. A nice state.
So it is so good to be back in Michigan. And listen, I am clear. The path to the White House runs right through this state.
American democracy is supposedly of the people, by the people, for the people. But in this US election, the votes of people here in Michigan are worth more to the presidential candidates than others. It's a swing state, won and lost by some of the slimmest margins in the country. Kamala Harris's late injection into the race has reignited the Democrats. But is it enough for her to win? In 4 crucial counties, we see how grassroots Democrats and Republicans are chasing the votes that count and what's standing in their way. There's no doubt the bubble of enthusiasm around Kamala Harris has changed this presidential race. But here on the ground, the contest is tight. There's a battle for every single vote, and neither side can afford to take anything or anyone for granted. Leafy, affluent Oakland County is home to more than 1 million registered voters. People here lean Democrat, but in a country without compulsory voting, parties have to make sure supporters actually cast a ballot if they're going to win.
Can't find the address. No. The hardest thing is to get them to come to the door.
Democrat volunteer Marcy Paul is devoting her days to getting Kamala Harris elected.
Hello.
What are you here to do today?
I'm going to talk to my neighbors. I'm going to talk to my neighbors and see how they're voting and see if they've made up their mind. Mr. Mallory?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Marcy, and I was wondering if you would talk to me a little bit about the upcoming election. Do you have any idea who you're going to be voting for?
So the upcoming ballot, I'm going to be voting Democrat. So like
Okay.
Kamala Harris and Waltz.
Great. If they haven't decided who they're voting for, I'm going to try and help them decide.
The Harris campaign has armed her with a list of undecided, infrequent and independent voters to target.
Maybe. Okay. Ooh. Hi. My name's Marcy. I'm your neighbor. Have you made up your mind who you think you might be voting for?
For?
President?
Not yet. I'm not in all the drama. Just tell me what you're going to do. What's your plan? What's your fix? I know you don't like this. I know you don't like that.
Right.
But what are you going to do to change it? And I hate Trump, to be honest with you. I really do. He's a pig to me. But the one thing he said to me that made me vote for him in the primary was term limits, to kind of kill the career politician.
The president doesn't have control over term limits.
It doesn't.
All of Congress has to decide that together. That's some literature for some things for you to think about.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Nice
Thank you very much.
So how do you think that went?
Good. I mean, good. I don't like that he voted for Trump before. That is a concern. On the other hand, he's going to remember I was here and that I'll come back. That won't be the end of me. Moving on. Hi, how are you? Do you remember me?
I know your face. Tell me
Marcy
your name.
Paul.
Marcy.
Yes. So how do you feel about the election this year? Do you have a presidential favorite, or?
Martha and I are political conservatives. Mm-hmm. I'm a Jews for Jesus rabbi.
So does that mean you will vote for Trump?
Yes.
By doing that?
Not happy with any of the candidates.
I see our civilization falling apart, so I want to conserve as much as I can. So yes, I am voting conservative.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I think if not really.
You can disagree.
Only because Trump has so few principles. If they will vote for him, he'll say something.
As with most politicians from
Right.
either party.
Well, thank you. Thank you for talking to me.
What's changed, do you think, in the race since Joe Biden dropped out and Kamala Harris became the nominee?
Everything. It feels like everything. It feels like it's 180 degrees different. The enthusiasm, the organic enthusiasm is off the charts.
Polls show Harris has regained some of the ground that Joe Biden had lost before he dropped out, but she still doesn't have the level of support that propelled him to victory in 2020. Minutes away, Oakland Republicans are drumming up their own enthusiasm at one of this car-obsessed city's biggest events, the annual Dream Cruise.
This was a very famous cruising road over the years, and so everybody, their parents, their grandparents have cruised this road.
Vance Patrick has been the Republican county chairman for nearly 2 years. His job is to win over new voters and convince existing Conservatives to turn out.
We're going after the easy targets where we know they're Republican, but we forgot to do it. Hey, it was raining that day, so we're going after them.
Why would more people come and vote for Donald Trump this time than they did in 2020?
We had Donald Trump once already. We had 4 years of economic prosperity. The border was secure. We already know what we're going to get by electing him again.
But Republicans here have a problem. Their own data estimates there's around 90,000 presidential disengagers, Conservative voters fed up with national politics.
What's your strategy with undecided and independent voters who want to vote Republican, but they just don't feel like they can vote for Donald Trump for whatever reason?
I love this. You're not voting for Donald Trump. You're voting for the Supreme Court. If you don't like Donald Trump, vote for JD, because he's a conservative guy that if Donald Trump is removed, that's who you're going to get. John, how you doing, brother?
Their outreach campaign is big.
Amber, how you doing? Got some Trump signs here. What do you got? You got a hot dog there?
The Oakland Republicans say they've knocked on more than 180,000 doors and made more than 100,000 phone calls to potential voters. Vance Patrick has invited a right-wing radio show here today to try to get more support.
Why is this important? And what's the point? What's the purpose of doing something like this?
Outreach, outreach, outreach. We're bringing more people to the party. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Remember Donald Trump's, what did he say? Too big to rig.
Wait, hold on. We gotta go. Good day today.
Republicans aren't just targeting suburban, mostly white voters. Donald Trump has told party leaders in Michigan to target the African-American community too.
So this is our Lincoln Day dinner tonight.
They've invited a special guest, Kwame Kilpatrick, the former mayor of Detroit, a Democrat who's now supporting Donald Trump.
How do we get more people? By convincing Democrats to see a different path and say, you know what, this Democrat Party that's running right now is not necessarily the Democrat Party of my values. And Kwame's here just to bring that home to them and let them know that there's another option out there.
I just want the country to be all right.
In 2013, Kilpatrick was sentenced to 28 years in prison for corruption crimes, including extortion and fraud. After serving nearly 7 years, he had his sentence commuted in 2021 by then-President Donald Trump.
Welcome, former Mayor of Detroit, Kwame Kilpatrick.
Tonight, he's explaining why he's gone from being a Democrat to supporting the Republican candidate.
I want Trump in the room when Vladimir Putin shows up. It's not about warm and touchy feelings. It's about how we come together as a nation and preserve our way of life. We can fight about our differences later, but at some point, we got to act like the United States of America. Sound the alarm.
Like Kilpatrick, Trump is also now a convicted felon who says he's been unfairly targeted by the justice system.
And Donald Trump has said that he thinks his criminal indictments may actually help him get votes in the African-American communities. Do you think that's true?
I think so. The inequity in prosecution and sentencing is something that's been going on in America for a long time. But Donald Trump, now people in the community feel that somebody who's experienced would be better prepared to meet it and try to change it.
Wayne County is home to Detroit, known for its love of cars and the Motown sound. Nearly 80% of the city's population is African American, who overwhelmingly vote Democrat.
5, 6, 7, 8, travel, 2, 3, kick, travel, 2, 3, kick.
On this warm Saturday, downtown Detroit is the place to party.
Come on in, the Cowboys. You see how we doing it. Food looking good, smelling good, tasting good.
One poll shows a quarter of young African-American men, like Breeze Bang, support Donald Trump.
There's definitely a lot of Trump supporters in Michigan, so we will see. I'm hoping for him. I'm rooting for him. He got my vote. Even though he's a convicted felon, you're able to reform your life and change and be able to do better with yourself. And if we the land of the free, then that's what it's supposed to be about. Just because you make a bad decision in your past, don't mean it defines what you're doing moving forward. So, no, I'm still in support of Donald Trump.
Kamala Harris says she's working to earn the votes of African-American men, but the majority of women we spoke to here do support her.
So how have sales been going here?
Sales been going pretty good with the ladies, but the men are starting to buy too. I think the men will buy more if we had hats. Where, you know, they don't want her face all across their chest.
How are you feeling about the presidential election?
I'm feeling better now that Kamala's in the running.
I hope Kamala wins.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Why is that?
Because I believe in everything that she stands for and everything that she's trying to do.
Wayne County is also home to Dearborn, the first American city where the majority of residents are Arab. 60% of Arab Americans voted for Joe Biden in 2020, but his administration's position on the war in Gaza has put support for Harris in jeopardy. These young people are part of a diverse anti-war movement that saw 100,000 Michigan Democrats withhold their votes for Joe Biden in this year's primary. A signal of their potential power come November. Lexi Zaidan is one of the organisers of the group that's now refusing to endorse Kamala Harris.
That's exactly why the Not Another Bomb campaign exists, to pressure the current administration and VP Harris's campaign to change their course on Gaza policy I almost had it. Okay.
Last election, Joe Biden won Michigan by 154,000 votes. There's an estimated 270,000 Arab Americans of voting age here. So their votes could potentially be the difference between Kamala Harris winning or losing the state.
Whether it's through this art build or signing petitions that we release, that's ultimately sending a message to VP Harris and the administration in general, telling them that if you want our people to mobilize behind you, if you want our people to support you, then we need to see some sort of change. We need to see an arms embargo enacted.
Free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Palestine will be free!
While Harris has called for a ceasefire in Gaza, her team has said she does not support an arms embargo on Israel.
Arms embargo, stop the war!
If there's absolutely nothing done, I think it's a block of voters that, you know, I can't speak for the entire block, but from what I'm hearing, is it's a block of voters that they're risking to lose, that are saying if we don't see X happen, then we're not doing Y. It's a block of voters that are just not going to vote at all.
Lexi doesn't want to see Donald Trump re-elected. He's a staunch supporter of Israel and wants to reinstate a ban on some Muslims entering the United States.
Are you worried about Trump possibly winning?
Very much so. Yeah, I mean, who isn't? Then there's also the other part that's like, well, we can't vote for somebody that's not willing to enact an arms embargo.
Macomb County is the backbone of Michigan's car manufacturing industry. This is where Trump's Make America Great Again pitch took hold in 2016. A groundswell of support here is often credited as the reason he won Michigan by 10,000 votes. Republicans know they have a solid base in Macomb, but they need it to be bigger. These MAGA diehards are trying to make that happen.
Hello, Mark.
Hello.
Stephanie from Australian TV.
Stephanie, nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too. This is quite a setup you've got here.
It's a major intersection in Macomb, and it's a pole. People going by honking, you know what they think.
Mark Fortin is the chair of the Macomb Republican Party. Like many of those here, he's a former auto worker, motivated by the decline of the industry and Donald Trump's promises to revive it.
Macomb is really critical. We must do well because I'm hoping everybody can raise their numbers. I hope Oakland County can raise their percentages, but I don't think we can win in Oakland. So that means Macomb has got to outperform again. We just have to do it.
He says they increased the vote for Republicans in 2020 by going after people the state party and Trump campaign didn't prioritise.
To this day, they give you phone apps, okay? And you're supposed to go door to door with this phone app. Oh, but this house is blue. This house is red. Knock on that door. Get them out to vote. No, no, no. We threw all that away in 2020. We're on the street anyway. We went to every door. Because again, you don't know who's on the other side of the door. And you don't know how they're suffering. Maybe they just lost jobs because factories moved. Maybe God knows what, right? And the inflation is terrible. So we're going to everybody. We're going to go to everybody again.
Today marks door-knocking with Terence McCoskey, who's running for sheriff. His name will be on the ballot with Trump's in November.
My name is Mark Fortin. I'm the Macomb County Republican chairman. Could I ask you, what do you think of the presidential race?
Presidential race? I'd rather not speak on it.
Oh, well, then your mind is open. At least you're thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Thank you, dear. Very nice to meet you.
Thanks again for it.
How do you feel when someone tells you they haven't made up their mind or they don't want to talk about?
We win.
Why is that?
By November, they'll vote for Trump.
Why do you think that?
Well, because they're not a left-wing radical that's buried in concrete, their feet, you know, in concrete. They're thinking. They're not decided yet. This has got to be a good one. It's a Jeep. It's pretty. A pretty yard. Can I ask how you feel about Trump? No. Okay, that's all right. That's okay.
I knew myself. We're getting our steps in for today, Mark.
Amen. Well, hello, sir. How you doing?
Obviously,
Mark Fortin, how are you? May I ask if you had any feelings about the presidential race yet?
Still sort of like thinking and debating about that. Slowly probably going towards that side. I mean, if I can give you my personal opinion, I am a legal immigrant. It cost me a master's degree, college education, working in Europe for a while, working in the US for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It cost me a lot.
Amen.
So yeah. I think it's only fair to ask for something similar. You know, that's the only thing.
We want immigrants. America's built that way.
I absolutely agree with that.
As they try to get this man over the line, Terence echoes Trump's unproven claims about the type of immigrants crossing the southern border.
I've talked to many of my counterparts on the border. What the media is showing us isn't in reality what's happening. You're not getting families and good people coming across. 80 to 90% of these people are 18 to 35-year-old males who have been kicked out of their prisons, their mental asylums, and who aren't very good people.
Thank you very much. It's great to meet you. It really is.
Selling voters on policy is one thing. The former president's personality is another.
May I ask how you feel about the presidential race?
I'm an independent.
Well,
so
good. That's fine.
Right now, if the Republicans could get someone different running, again, I voted both ways. I'm not straight to anybody.
Let me ask you a question.
It's,
as an independent, what turns you off about Donald Trump? Is it the way he talks or what he's done?
His character.
His character, okay.
His character.
Oh, I got you.
Put it this way. I don't know if you guys have daughters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Would you want a young man with his exact moral fiber step into your house and taking your daughter out tonight? You'd be like, I don't think so.
I did security for his family and for his children, and I've had President Bush, President Obama, and President Clinton. And out of all those presidents, President Trump was by far the most respectful, the nicest to be around, and the most pleasant to everybody in law enforcement. And his children were second to none.
I'll be honest, I'm really scared about this election. I'm scared what's going to happen if, either way, that there's going to be a lot more violence.
You know what? But it's great to talk to you, sir. It really is. Okay, nice to meet you. Good luck. Take care.
Like the majority of Republican voters, Mark believes Joe Biden's 2020 win was illegitimate. That's despite an investigation by Michigan Republicans that found no evidence of systemic voter fraud.
I think there still will be a fraud, but I think we're going to overwhelm them so big that they can't commit enough fraud.
What do you think will happen here in Michigan if Donald Trump doesn't win the election?
What a question. First of all, I know he's going to win it. How do you answer that? Donald Trump's going to win this election. There is no second way. The road to freedom doesn't go in another direction.
This is Kent County, Western Michigan's furniture-making powerhouse and manufacturing centre. People here once reliably voted Republican. Now, this county is on a knife edge. Here we've come across some Conservatives who are not only refusing to vote for Donald Trump, they're defecting to Kamala Harris.
We've been seeing billboards like this in key parts of Michigan. They're part of a $50 million advertising campaign that's showcasing the voices of former Trump voters who are now making the case against him. Hello, Tom.
Oh, how are you?
The famous face from the billboard.
Well,
it's lovely to meet you.
Thank you, you too.
This is Tom Moore. He's a public servant, a veteran, a Conservative, and one of the faces on the billboard campaign.
In 2016, I did vote for Trump, but in 2020, I didn't want to vote for him, and I couldn't bring myself to vote for the Democratic candidate, was Mr. Biden at the time. So I just did a write-in candidate. I picked Optimus Prime because I honestly thought he would be a better candidate than any of the other two. It was my protest vote.
This year, Tom's voting for Kamala Harris, a big step for a Conservative in his traditionally Republican part of Michigan.
It's one thing to not vote for Donald Trump
Yes.
and just vote for no one.
Yes.
It's another thing to vote for the Democrat candidate,
Yes.
Kamala Harris. Why have you decided to vote for Kamala Harris?
So my fear, and based on what Trump has said and his running mate Vance, is that if he gets to power, he'll pull the United States out of the world, isolate us, and that's not good for the world and it's not good for our economy.
What do you hope that people who see that billboard are going to do, or how do you hope it influences them?
Just to think. I'm a veteran, a U.S. Army veteran. I'm a conservative. I'm a gun owner. And I'm not voting for Trump. It makes it more real. There must be a good reason why I'm not voting for him. And maybe it will make someone think a little bit.
The energy among these Kamala Harris supporters is undeniable. At this volunteer fair, people are signing up to campaign for her and local candidates. Bringing some star power is Sean Astin, famous for his roles in the Goonies and The Lord of the Rings.
Hi, Stephanie.
Nice to meet you.
Beautiful lady.
Just wanted to ask, what is the Lord of the Rings' favourite character doing here at this event?
I'm campaigning for Kamala Harris for president.
Why?
I'm here because if I'm lucky to live to be an old man and have grandchildren, they're going to sit on my knee and I'm going to tell them about this moment when America elected its first woman president.
Democrats here have reason to be hopeful. In 2022, Congresswoman Hillary Scholten became the first Democrat to win this district in nearly 50 years.
Congresswoman Stephanie from Australian TV.
Hi, Stephanie.
How are you?
Wow, I'm doing great. Thanks for being all the way here. We know that it is going to take a lot of work and effort to turn this energy into action. Because as excited as people are here, I talk to people in my district every day who are still undecided. I think we get so lost in this idea that like, well, but Trump is going to be so much worse, you know, and that should be enough. We need to acknowledge the ways that we have not shown up for people in real ways.
How do people feel maybe the Democrats haven't done what they wanted?
I mean, on rising costs and inflation, that doesn't resonate with people at the end of the day if they still can't afford their basic needs, right? They're struggling to put their kids through college, pay for basic healthcare expenses. So I think there's no harm in acknowledging that.
Marcy Paul, who we met door-knocking in Oakland, has travelled 3 hours to be here.
There's a lot of votes here that we got to get in November.
Hi.
Hi. Do you know about Femmes for Dems?
And I'm a Dem.
Yeah, well, then you should take one of our cards.
All right.
Got it.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
It's yet to be seen if this passion among Democrats will pay off for Kamala Harris.
How does what's happening here right now translate into extra votes for Democrats?
It just builds buzz. And the more you get people talking to other people, about the race and energy. Voting is emotional.
With just weeks to go before Election Day, Democrat and Republican volunteers have a mountainous task ahead of them. Neither candidate has this presidential election in the bag. Feeling good about it?
I feel good about it. Great? I don't know. I'm not ready to say great yet.